So, hello everyone, I'm Dr. Nupur, and today I'll be talking about the canalicular injuries. So, before we move on to the actual pathology, it is important to understand the anatomy as in any oculoplastic case. So, we have the upper and the lower punctum, which drains to the upper and the lower canaliculus, and then each canaliculus has a vertical and the horizontal part to it. So, the common etiology of canalicular injuries can be multiple, but broken spectacle, blouse hook injuries, and dog bites are the most common. So, there could be mechanical, thermal, chemical, radiation induced. It could be also direct or indirect injuries and iatrogenic causes as well. So, in general, the lower canaliculus is more likely to be injured, either related to the location or the ability to be avulsed by hooks and similar objects. So, all eyelid lacerations medial to the puncta involve the canaliculus until proven otherwise. So, the primary management is as on the principles of a basic trauma management. So, first, one needs to stabilize the patient systemically. Then, if there's any ruptured globe, it needs to be repaired first, and then a definitive evaluation of the eyelid or nasolacrimal trauma should be done. If the globe is intact, then the diagnosis of canalicular laceration may be confirmed by introducing a fine Bowman's probe into the lacrimal punctum and out through the wound. Orbital imaging such as CT orbit can be requested for in case of blunt trauma to rule out any orbital fracture. So the recommended time of canalicular repair is within 48 to 72 hours, as later on fibrosis sets in and becomes difficult to repair the canaliculus. So the driving principle behind managing canalicular lacerations is that wound healing by primary intention is always preferred. The repair of canaliculus lessens the risk of patient developing epiphora later on and also contributes to obtaining good eyelid position post-operatively. So the challenges which come in a primary management are that the nasal or the proximal cut end of the canalicular laceration may be difficult to identify. So how can one, what techniques can be used? One can use a Bowman's lacrimal probe. So you insert it to the distal end and then you try to follow the natural course. So you will eventually ending up getting the proximal end of the cut end of the canaliculus as well. Or one can also, under a microscope, identify the whitish circular opening of the canaliculus, as you can see in this image, which is also called the calamary ring sign. Or one can inject a fluorescein impregnated saline or air into the opposite punctum and simultaneously observe dye disappearance or bubbles. A pigtail probe can also be used. So the when you're repairing the canaliculus for a good apposition, it is always good to place a stent inside. So the various stents that can be used are a mini Manoka stent, which is a single stent through the canaliculus, and it comes with the most commonly used is mini Manoka. One can also use a monocanalicular annular stent. When you have a bicanalicular injury, that means your upper and the lower canalicular are also involved. A bicanalicular stent can be placed separately, or a bicanalicular annular stent can be placed. So these are certain scenarios or case examples. So this 11-year-old child came to us with the lower lid laceration and lower canalicular tear following an injury with the rod. So after all the requisite investigations and fitness, the child was taken up for lower lid canalicular tear repair. And this is how we proceeded. So first, the punctum dilation was done from the punctum. A Bowman's probe was inserted to the cut end, to the distal end. Then we identified the proximal end and we injected saline and found the syringe was patent. A mini Manoka tube was taken. It was cut with a beveled end. It was inserted through the distal end, through the punctum. It's removed. And then you identified the cut end of the canaliculus and the mini Manoka is being gently inserted. So as the mini Manoka is being pushed inside, we are seeing that it's going very easily. So if we are going in the wrong track, it will actually tend to coil itself and not go easily. So we know we are in the right track. And the wound closure was done with interrupted 60 vicral sutures. So this was the case. And so the intubation removal is done 4 to 6 weeks post-operatively. And after removal, the patency of the lacrimal drainage system is checked for. So this is the image of the 4 weeks post-operative of this patient whose video we showed. So as you can see that in the left eye lower lid, the mini Manoka stent is very much in place. And this is the pre-operative and the post-operative picture. So this post-operative picture is post-op 6 weeks after the removal of mini Manoka stent, and the syringing was also patent in this child. So these are my acknowledgements. All these people, they're my friends and co-fellows who have helped me put up this presentation. These are the further reading materials and I've used these references to prepare my presentation. Thank you so much, everyone. A special thanks to the Ocular Emergencies and Trauma team for giving me this opportunity.